Yes, I think that there's no issue that is too trivial, and in my walk across the single-member district, I've had, yes, people ask me about trash and rats, even backyard chickens. So that is very important. And I mean, we have to listen, we have to address them. I mean, actually, there is some legislation going forward right now from Tony Wells on. But that said, I believe that a lot of people may not be aware of that there are some regulations regarding allowing your dog. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a fine that you can get, but it's just not enforced.
Well, one sign I saw in Upper Northwest said
$25. Yes.
$50 if you don't have the leash of your dog.
Yes, yes.
Well, the sign I saw in Upper Northwest said $350 fine if you don't scoop your poops.
And I think most people are not aware of that, and most people are law-abiding citizens, and that once they're informed, then they will adhere to it. They don't want to get fined. Somebody can take a picture of them doing it. Anyway, then I think that's one of the things that I would do is get, and again, you can't just send it out through an email. You're going to have to go put it at people's doors and let them know.
Also going back to just getting constituents more involved. I think if we had a more engaged SMD, we would hold each other accountable. Because there's only so much I can do. I can run after everybody with a big bag, but I can't be there. I can't be everywhere at one time. So just like prostitution or day in break-ins, if you see something, you should say. I know my dad got very upset when a dog, an owner had let the dog do his business, didn't pick it up. He literally, I thought it was kind of dangerous. He literally ran after the person, I think, for like 2 blocks with the dog to make him come back and do it. And I'm not saying you should chase after people, but what I'm saying is not just ANC, you should be holding each other up. We should all be holding each other accountable.
Mr. Dragon?
Well, I don't think it's a trivial question, because I think we've all had the experience going out to kind of enjoy what we assumed was our pristine lawn, only to find that some critter has left something for us to take care of. So, so it's an important question. I don't have any additional things to what these folks have added, but I intend to copy all of their ideas and use them for my own. I'm fortunate enough to be elected.
Next question. Let's go to Mr. Blair, who hasn't asked, and then I'll come back to you.
Does anyone want good advice from an about-to-be ex-ANC?
Make it brief.
Yes, my advice would be, remember, the ANC is a collegial body. It only serves the people when it sort of works as a team. And I think a very important thing for an ANC, and I don't know how to make a question out of this really, is you have to work with your other ANC members. It has to be a collegial thing. I would give everybody who might be a newly elected ANC the following advice: watch what Mr. Thomas does and do the same. I surprised him. We are not always on the same side of issues, but I think Mr. Thomas is on this ANC an example of gentlemanliness, courtesy, and paying attention to his fellow members, which I, for one, certainly appreciate in my time on the council. And what do you think about that, Tim?
Mr. Crocker?
Yeah, we said a couple comments have been made tonight about attendance in meetings. And as someone who goes to meetings, but I do have a job that it's a full-time job. I have 3 kids at home who I like to see. I don't think we necessarily should blame the people who don't come out. We don't know what the circumstances are, but they still care about issues, and they still need to be informed. And I've come to the point where I don't always trust the Post to inform me about my local issues. How, as an ANC commissioner, do you reach the people who aren't at the meetings and give them an opportunity to express their will? I mean, technically, an ANC represents 2,000 registered voters. I've yet to go to a meeting where the 2,000 registered voters are at an ANC meeting. But all those people have interests, all those people have opinions, and we said the listserv sometimes can be daunting. You don't even want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So how do you reach out to those people?
Did everybody hear the question? Let's start with Mr. Daggett.
had the privilege of going last so many times, but I didn't collect my thoughts. That advantage has been removed. So this is more impromptu than other answers. It's a good question, very important. As far as keeping people informed, I instinctively at first resisted the idea of emailing minutes out because I felt like that would, not that minutes aren't important, but that would encourage participation. But I think I've come around to notice the importance of that. So while encouraging people to attend in person, I will reluctantly type them up in minutes and keep people informed. I realize that not everyone has email, like a lot of older folks particularly might not have it, or that might just not be their particular method of wanting to communicate, and that's okay too. So I think it's being out there as far as offering a phone number, but that requires people to be a little more active. I think it's maybe doing I'm going door to door now. As you know, I came to your house, but I think maybe doing some gentle follow-up, maybe if you know people are interested, you hear people are interested, maybe following up with them, maybe kind of expensive, but a mailing out there. I think it's maybe the bottom line is use a variety of methods. Keep in touch.
Ms. Carter?
I'll piggyback off what you said. I definitely think a variety of methods. If I'm elected, I'm planning on having at least a space on the web where there would be a recap so that anyone can see it if they were not there. Also, it would be a backup to whatever I would send to the listserv as a recap of what happened, and just having a direct email or telephone number for people that are interested but can't come. Just giving them again a forum to see the information and be able to direct questions to me based on that information that they listen to those meetings. So again, piggyback off what you said, I just really think it's about having more than one way to communicate to constituents. And again, for those that care but maybe can't make the meetings, I'm definitely open to that.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes, I do it. It's the old-fashioned way. Call me, ask you when can I come over your house. Come anytime, sit down, talk to you, find out what your concerns are, listen to your concerns, let you know what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, and we'll see can we assist you the best way we can. That's the only way. It's grassroots. There's no computer overnight thing. It's I'll call you, I'll come by, we'll sit down, we'll talk about what your issues are, and try to see what we can do.
Well, my plan would be to periodically get out and give people literature. Because one of the most frustrating things that I hear from seniors is that they don't have email, and so you can post it to an internet site, you can send an email, you can do listserv work, and people are not informed. So much in the same way that I'm out here touching every home, I plan to do that periodically with information and updates so that people can get information, read it, put it in their hand, but also use some of the technology as well.
Mr. Bennett?
Yeah, thank you. This is the first time that I've campaigned, and I've done, however, meetings in the past where when I went to work for the fire department and they made some changes that people weren't prepared for, firefighters weren't prepared for, and there was some adverse results. I went about having emergency meetings, and I realized that I had several of these. That certainly going out door to door, putting up flyers on poles, but the key thing is the more information that you get out, the more like you might have to put out 1,000 flyers to get 100 people at a meeting, maybe 100 or less. A communication committee made up of people that would be dedicated to help getting the word out to those that are hard to reach. We have to do that, whether it be, and we have to use, yes, the electronic media also. The meetings that I'm looking to have are going to be strategically located within the single-member district so we can make them accessible to as many people as possible. I had said I pledged to do 4 single-member district meetings. I know, like I said earlier, I'm going to have to do more. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have time for one last question before we adjourn for the night. Does anyone have one? Ma'am?
How do you go about informing citizens about the street? Other from my neighbor, I happen to be in a training class, but I've been in Brooklyn for 5 years. I've received one flyer regarding any of these meetings, so I've attended one meeting in Parker Hill. And I think there should be much greater effort to inform everyone of these meetings when they're taking place, no idea what the listserv is, where it is, how this whole form is supposed to work, why there are 6 people sitting here. I have absolutely no idea. I don't know how you become informed about it. So I'm sure I'm an attorney, and I've been in DC government for 20 years, so I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people probably have no idea.
I'm going to take the first crack at that on behalf of the Civic Association. The best way to stay informed about things going on with the Civic Association is to sign up on our sign-in sheet. I noticed when you walked in that you didn't sign up. It's no fault of yours, but I was definitely going to hit you afterward, ask you to sign up, and that'll get you on our email list to receive notice of the meetings. Who else would like to comment on this?
The same thing, you know, it's critical that we go door to door. You know, I can't tell you how many seniors, homes that I went to, and they're not going to be on the internet. They're not going to be on the cell phones, and we have to do that. It's, yes, it was mentioned, it's the old-fashioned way, Corey said, and we have to do that. You know, that's why you will get a flyer under your door. When we have these meetings, it has to be done that way. And I'm willing to go out and do it every time we have a meeting. Really, that's me. That's what I'll do. And I know there's other people that are like-minded, and I believe that's with my colleagues I'm sitting with right here. So we will get the word out to you for sure.
What we need to do is find out who the ANC person is, and let you.
380117. Yeah.
Who is it?
Even I have no idea.
580.
I'll find out.
But it's all on the DC government website.
But you know, all those things kind of take for granted.
I know.
Just, you move in, you just start, continue on with life.
I will, if I may.
Yes, please.
It is very frustrating to get information. I tell you, populating my calendar with all of the events. There's also an education meeting happening tonight. There was a meeting last night, 5807. There's a meeting tomorrow night for PSA 502. And guess what? It's not all in one location. You can't go to one central location and get all of these meetings. So part of it is just coordinating, having a coordinating effort so that everybody knows what the central calendar looks like for issues of concern. And that has to, it's difficult to sort of get out every time there's an addition to the calendar. But minimally, there should be some electronic calendar that we can all share with all of the disparate interests. You know, the Citizens Advisory Council is different from the PSA community meeting that's happening tomorrow. There's a gala happening for the Citizens Advisory Council for 5th District on October 28th. Now, again, I don't know how many people in here know that, but it's another example.
Okay, ma'am, you had a question?
I just want to make a comment. I said I was one of the lucky ones that I did receive a flyer, but my neighbor, she stayed right next door. She didn't get the flyer, but I like informed her of it, you know.
Good. Okay, well, thank you all. Somehow you all found out about this. I'm glad, and thank you all for coming, doing your civic duty. Let's give a round of applause to our ANC candidates. Job, volunteer, of course, and it's really an important service that you all, if you're elected, you'll be providing to the city and to the neighborhood. Let me just wrap up before we get up. I have 2 quick announcements. One is that our next meeting will be Saturday, November 13th. As I mentioned, it's our Saturday meeting. So it's Saturday, November 13th from 10 to 12 at Turkey Thicket Rec Center. And we will be getting around notices about this meeting. If you haven't ever gotten one before, please sign up in the back, and that'll guarantee that you get future notices. And then the other announcement I want to make is that on November 16th, from 7 to 9, we're going to be co-hosting an energy conservation workshop with the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments. And it's going to be a workshop that's designed to teach tips related to conserving energy and retrofitting your house and simple things that you can do to save energy and save money and protect the planet.